So a few days ago, it was announced that Future Trunks would be a playable character in Dragon Ball FighterZ. And you know what? Since I already did a speculation video for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, I figure, you know what? Sure. Why don't we do a speculation video for Dragon Ball FighterZ as well? Now, I'm not going to put them in the order of how much I want these characters to be in the games, so much as the order of how likely it is that they'll be in the game, because if even one of these characters are in the game, I'll be happy. But with that out of the way, let's go. So like I said before, we're going to go from order of most likely to least likely. And I'm not going to make it a top 10 this time, I'm just going to make it a top 5, because I don't know how many characters are going to be in the game. It might be a big roster, it might be a small roster, I don't know. However, coming in at most likely to be on this game out of these 5 characters that I want is absolutely Piccolo. Like, without a doubt, Piccolo is one of the main characters of the show, and taking into account the 4 good guys that have been announced for this game, we're really one Piccolo away from recreating every Cell Games promotional art that was ever drawn by Toriyama. There's no way Piccolo isn't going to be in this game, but, I mean, while we're speculating about it, what kind of character will Piccolo be? Now, I know that Dragon Ball FighterZ is aiming to be a more balanced fighter, that it wants to fundamentally be a fighting game first and a Dragon Ball Z game second, and I appreciate that. But Piccolo is probably going to be a really heavy zoning character with the amount of energy blasts and energy attacks that he has in the show. Like, a lot of the Saiyans are very physical and, you know, they'll throw out big beams and stuff, but most of the time they're just like getting in your face and punching the crap out of you. Piccolo, though, Piccolo is all about moving around and firing energy blasts and using, you know, technique. Like, Hellzone Grenade would definitely cover the screen in energy blasts. Special Beam Cannon would probably be like Big Bang Attack and just do damage the moment it hits, as opposed to over multiple hits. He's also really mobile, so he can keep himself moving while just surrounding the enemy with energy blasts and pushing them against the corner of the screen and stuff like that. So I'm pretty confident in the idea that Piccolo would be a good zoning character. His speed isn't as pronounced in the show, though, so I'm thinking more like MODOK from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where it's just, there's mobility, but for the most part, it's just covering the screen in projectiles and keeping the opponent in one area of the screen. You're going to realize really quickly that most of these comparisons are going to be to Marvel vs. Capcom, because that's the only fighting game I can really compare it to that I've actually played. Next on the list is Krillin, because, I mean, honestly, you need at least one human character in this game, and you could make an argument, it's like, oh, come on, of course Krillin is going to be in this game, you don't know that. It's like, but I don't know that. I don't know what's going to go into this game, because it's again, it's trying to be a fighting game first and a DBC game second, so I don't know what's viable. But having said that, if you hold a gun to my head and are going to make me pick one human fighter over all of the other ones, I'm going to have to make it Krillin. Now, what kind of character would Krillin be, though? I'm thinking also a zoning character. He has a lot of utility, not so much, he's not so much a physical fighter like the Saiyans, but he has a lot of utility by way of his Destructo Discs, his, I'm gonna go by the English names. I watched I watched it dubbed, just, that's how it is. The Destructo Disc, Tien's Solar Flare that, you know, for some reason Krillin also knows. He can move around a lot, he can stun his opponents, he can mix them up. I want to say that that would make for a good zoning character, but there's less emphasis on covering the screen and energy blasts and more emphasis on mobility. Stunning the opponent and getting behind them, or hitting them with attacks that will, you know, stun lock them, you know, stuff like that. Like the Destructo Disc is a hard hitter. The Solar Flare would definitely work as a stun. There's a lot to work with there. Not to mention he's so short that there would just be a hard time just trying to hit him. And this might turn into an Odd Job from GoldenEye scenario, but I mean, if there's a character that deserves to be overpowered, it's Krillin, alright? I will fight people on this. Now the next one's kind of weird because technically Gohan is already in the game, even if it's the Cell Games version of him. But I really want Ultimate Gohan from the Buu Saga in the game. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, Lewis is already a Gohan in the game, what do you want to put another Gohan? I was like, dude, Gohan is like the main character of the show for Dragon Ball Z. He has been in this show since he was a baby till he's married with a child. Be thankful that I only picked one Gohan for this list, like just one. I could have just as easily made this entire list just different ages of Gohan, and I showed a lot of restraint there. Ultimate Gohan's never really been like an energy blast sort of person though. Like even when compared to the other Saiyans, he's definitively lacking in energy attacks. Not because he doesn't have them, but because he doesn't use them. So I think Ultimate Gohan would work really well as like a heavy rushdown character, just getting right in your face and getting really physical. I mean, that was basically the entire fight with Super Buu. He just basically kept zipping around at high speeds and smacking him right in the face, punching him in the gut, punching him in the face. That was the entire fight. It makes complete sense. Not to mention, I mean, if you're going to pick another version of Gohan to put in the game, Ultimate Gohan is super slick. I mean, he's just slick, man. Just put Ultimate Gohan in there. Like, I'm good with that. Now here's where we start getting into weird territory, because I'm not so sure that these characters could be in the game. It's possible, but I don't feel as sure about it as I do the last three. But I think Hit from Dragon Ball Super would be a really cool choice for this game. Like, at first I was thinking Goldo from the Ginyu Force, but aside from the time freezing, there's not really a lot that Goldo brings to the table as his own character. As a part of the Ginyu Force, he's fine, but as his own character, he's really not. But then I started thinking about it, and Hit is one of the more popular characters in Dragon Ball Super. Hit has a similar power set to Goldo. Hit also has more time on screen than Goldo, so you have a better sense of how he fights. He would definitely be the kind of Sonin character that, like Strider from Marvel vs. Capcom. A lot of sipping around, landing hard hits. Well, okay, Strider's not a hard hitter. Virgil from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Hits hard, a lot of mobility, and a lot of mix-up opportunities. I think Hit would be really good for that kind of character archetype. Now this one, I actually had a hard time figuring out if this one was more or less likely than Hit, but I think it'd be really cool if instead of adding another Majin Buu, we kept Fat Buu and then put Super Janemba in the game as like a sort of a Super Buu equivalent. Like, I know we're talking about a movie character and that's weird, but like Super Janemba is super slick. Like, his teleporting would be really cool to incorporate. He hits fast and hard. He's also got a sword, so you could do some really cool attacks with that. And he's also long range. Not only does he teleport around and have a lot of mobility, but he has long range sword attacks. He would be a lot like Strider. He would have a lot of mobility and focus on doing as many hits as possible. Maybe not so much hard hits, but a lot of utility and mobility, where you could zip around and shoot long range sword slashes, or like shooting a bunch of needles through the sky, or, you know, there's a lot you could do with Super Janemba, and I think it would be cool if he was part of the game. Honestly, I have no way to know what kind of characters are going to be in this game. It could be none of these characters, it could be all of these characters. But anyway, do you guys agree with this list, or do you disagree with this list? Are there characters that you would have rather seen in the game? You know, leave a comment, let me know. As long as it's not Broly, because, oh my god, I know he's going to be in the game. I know he's going to be in the game, but I hate Broly, and I don't want to talk about it. I'm just gonna, I just want to sit here and just... Anyway, this is XTRSunburn, and I'll see you guys later.